I am having a good time in London this morning, and I need 99.9% of women are not drawn only to a man's looks. That's the brutal truth most men never realize. Looks might catch her eye for a second, but they don't hold her. What truly pulls her in runs far deeper, hidden beneath the surface. Symbolic, emotional, almost invisible. Think about your own experiences. How many times have you tried saying all the right things, only to watch her smile fade? How many times have you felt ignored while another man, who barely spoke, became the center of her attention? It stings, doesn't it? It feels unfair. You put in effort, but she doesn't even remember you. Meanwhile, he says less and becomes unforgettable. That's the difference I'm about to show you. Because what I'm giving you is not advice. It is an art, an ancient understanding of the female mind, sharpened by the ruthless cunning of Machiavelli himself. Once you learn it, you'll stop being overlooked and start becoming the man who leaves a mark she cannot erase. This is not a shallow game. These are psychological weapons, designed to ignite emotions so intense they linger, burning and replaying in her mind again and again. But be warned, the same language that excites can also destroy. Like any weapon, it can illuminate or it can consume. So let me ask you, have you ever ruined a moment by saying too much? Have you ever tried to impress, only to push her away instead? What if I told you the secret wasn't in more words, but in fewer? What if silence itself could become your sharpest blade? Picture this, a dimly lit bar. Laughter, soft murmurs, glasses clinking in the background. She's smiling, surrounded by men competing with hollow words. They lean in, they try too hard, they chase. And you, silent, composed, simply watch. You don't need to shout. You don't need to force. You wait. And then, at the precise moment, you speak just enough, because female desire is not lit by the obvious. It burns with what is suggested, what is implied, what is never said, yet deeply felt. That is the line between being forgotten and becoming an obsession. Machiavelli understood this truth. The greatest power lies in speaking without ever speaking of desire, in making her imagine without asking, in turning a single phrase into a spark that ignites her entire body. The mind of a woman is a stage, and every word you choose becomes a scene that can make her tremble. You don't need to touch her. You don't need to speak explicitly. You only need to slip into her mind, without ever brushing her skin. In this lesson from the dark psyche, I will show you how to use your voice, your energy, and even your silence as a hypnotic dance. You will learn to read her hidden signals, to turn ordinary talk into a magnetic field of attraction. If you are ready to stop being ignored and start being remembered, subscribe now, turn on the bell, and prepare to learn the language that excites without touch. A language where silence itself is more powerful than words. Because here is the unshakable law. In both power and seduction, the most effective move is not to declare, but to imply. When she feels without knowing why, the game changes. You are no longer another man in the crowd. You become the center of her thoughts. Think about it. How many times have you lost her interest by over-explaining? How many times have you killed the spark by filling the air with words that were never needed? That happens because you forgot one rule. In the feminine world, less is always more. Speaking with intention, with pauses, with emotional control, this transforms a simple conversation into a ritual of attraction. Now, you are ready to see the invisible. Because here is the final truth. The content of your words matters less than the way you deliver them. Your tone, your rhythm, your energy between phrases. This is where she truly listens. Imagine the same line spoken by two men. I enjoyed talking to you. One says it while staring at the ground, voice weak and uncertain. The other delivers it with calm firmness, eyes steady, carrying a quiet intensity. Now tell me, who makes her shiver inside? Both men used the same words, but one ignited desire, while the other fed indifference. Why? Because in her unconscious mind, what she feels is far more powerful than what she understands. Tone is the bridge between your words and her imagination. Well-placed pauses are not empty silences. They are invisible touches, a sustained gaze, a breath at the right moment, a slow word spoken as if it holds a secret. These create tension. They create intimacy. They create a current of unspoken desire. It's not about talking of passion. It's about making her breathe it in. Why do some women say, that man has something I can't explain? It's because that something isn't in what he says. It's in how he says it. It's in his mastery of silence, of space, of intention. It's in the way his voice seems to brush against her skin without ever touching it. That is power. And power is never improvised. It is cultivated. So the next time you speak, let your words carry weight. Let every phrase echo like a shadow, like a promise she cannot forget. Because in the next act, you'll see how an ordinary man, not especially handsome, not especially charming, not brilliant, can still plant a desire so deep she doesn't even know where it came from. You've seen him before. The man who doesn't stand out, yet somehow women drift closer to him. They laugh at his presence, lean toward him as if pulled by something unseen. And you wonder, what does he have that I don't? The answer is simple. He hasn't said anything special. And that's the secret. Men who stir desire effortlessly don't rely on clever lines. They rely on the feeling they create when they're present. Their tone, their posture, their gaze, their energy. They speak more with the unsaid than with the spoken. They seek no validation. They don't try to impress. They simply are. Secure, grounded, unadorned. And that quiet security drives women mad. Because a woman can admire a beautiful face. But if she senses neediness, desperation, or anxiety, the flame dies. Yet, if she feels calm, certainty, and just a trace of mystery, something deeper awakens. Her imagination begins to race. Machiavelli understood this well. Real power never announces itself. It is felt. The most potent seduction is never shouted. It is whispered at the edges of a conversation. It is never forced. It is implied. Men who master this art do not compete for attention. They become the center of it, without even trying. When they finally speak, every word carries a hidden purpose. Even their silence speaks for them. They do not rush. They do not over-explain, because they understand. The one who controls the rhythm controls the tension. So I ask you, do you want to become one of them? Then stop searching for the perfect line and begin to speak from a deeper place. Not from your head, but from the core of your presence. From emotional control. Speak as if you were never in a hurry. As if your voice itself were a promise. Because when she listens, when she feels that shift, she begins to listen differently. She begins to see you differently. You stop being just another man, and you become the man she cannot forget. A woman may forget a face, but she never forgets how you made her feel. And if your voice touches her mind, her body will respond, without you ever asking. Machiavelli understood this long before any so-called modern guru. Seduction does not begin in the bed. It begins with a phrase, whispered with the right intention, where a pause carries more weight than a declaration, where real desire is born in the mind, not on the skin. So the next time she stands before you, do not speak to fill the silence. Speak so the silence itself becomes a caress. And if you knew the thoughts I had when you walked in, you wouldn't know whether to walk away or to step even closer. There is a part of you have not yet revealed. And believe me, that hidden part is the most powerful. You have no idea the impact you could create once you learn to speak from that place. That slower voice, heavier with intention, that says nothing directly, yet suggests everything. And then, something subtle, yet undeniable, begins to happen. She feels. She feels without anything ever happening. Because her mind has already started writing a story with you. And you haven't even finished your sentence. Here's the fascinating part. You are not saying anything explicit, yet she feels everything. The secret is not in declaring what you want. It is in planting an image, an emotion, a delicious uncertainty that makes her wonder. Is he flirting with me? Why do I feel this way? If he hasn't even touched me? That ambiguity is not weakness. It is the very core of verbal seduction. Because when a woman keeps thinking about what you didn't say, her imagination takes over. And when she imagines, she connects. And when she connects, she begins to desire. One single word, spoken with pause, in a low voice, with steady eyes, can spark more desire than 1,000 clever lines spoken without soul. Now that you understand this, we go deeper. Because it is not only about speaking with intention. It is about building a conversation that is emotionally magnetic. A conversation that makes her open up, that draws her into revealing parts of herself she shares with no one else. But this is only possible if you do not sabotage the moment with subtle mistakes that kill desire before you even realize it. There are ways of speaking that, without meaning to, destroy attraction in seconds. It doesn't matter how much psychology you've studied. If you make these mistakes, she disconnects. And the most dangerous part? You won't even know why. The first mistake, seeking her approval. Phrases like, "Do you find me interesting? Are you bored? Do you enjoy talking to me?" They may sound harmless, but beneath them lies a hidden need. And in that moment, she stops seeing you as a man with presence and starts seeing you as someone asking for permission to be liked. No one desires the man who kneels emotionally. The second mistake, over-explaining yourself. "I talk like this because I'm respectful. I don't want you to think badly of me." It may sound noble, but to her unconscious mind, it registers as an apology. And the man who apologizes for his presence surrenders his frame. The third mistake, revealing your wounds too soon. Speaking about your ex, your traumas, your overflowing emotions. This does not create attraction. It creates heaviness. She does not seek a man who vents. She seeks a man who contains, a man who radiates emotional firmness. And then comes the soulless tone, that robotic way of speaking without pauses, without rhythm, without tension. Desire is born from curves, shadows, contradictions. If your voice lacks rhythm, her body cannot respond. Because desire does not listen through the ears, it listens through the soul. A woman lost in overthinking cannot feel. If you trap her in logic, in analysis, in judgment, the disconnection is instant. Her instinct shuts down. Her body closes. Her mind seeks protection, not because you did something wrong, but because you lost the mystery. And mystery, as Machiavelli knew, is the food of desire. You must avoid these mistakes, not out of fear of rejection, but because every time you over-explain, justify, correct, or seek permission, you break the spell. Attraction is not logical. It does not require approval. It feeds on what lingers in the air, on what remains unsaid, on what she imagines. You are not there to convince her you're a good man. You are there to make her feel there is something within you she cannot fully understand, but desperately wants to keep discovering. For that, you need more than charm. You need solid mental frames, subtle, invisible structures that guide the conversation without her noticing. Because every time you speak to a woman, a frame is present. And that frame determines whether she sees you as her equal or as someone beneath her, begging for acceptance. The frame is the lens through which everything is interpreted. It's not only what you say, but from where you speak. And the one who controls the frame controls the attraction. If you speak from need, from "I hope you like me," from anxiety, she feels it. And the moment she feels it, she disconnects. Because female desire is not born from compliments. It is born from enigma, from the sense that you are not competing for her attention, but that you live comfortably in your own world. And if she wants to enter, she must earn her place. That frame changes everything. It makes you attractive without effort, magnetic without words. One example proves it. Instead of chasing approval with endless compliments, you plant doubt. You say something like, "You have an interesting energy. I'm not sure if I like it, or if it confuses me. Do you see the difference?" Instantly, you shift the dynamic. You are no longer the one seeking her validation. You are responding to what she provokes. And in that moment, the game flips. She begins searching for signs, wondering if she truly has you. That small shift in the frame sparks emotional attraction. Or you can invoke the emotional experience frame. Don't tell her she's pretty. She has heard that 1,000 times. Instead, you say, "There's something in the way you speak that makes me think you're not as innocent as you seem." You look. You're not speaking about her body. You're speaking about her impact. That reaches deeper. Then comes the mystery frame. Instead of explaining who you are, let her imagine it. Not everyone gets to see that side of me. But maybe with you, I'll make an exception. Never reveal everything. Create curiosity. Because once she knows everything, she stops imagining you. And when she stops imagining you, she stops wanting you. Leaving things unsaid isn't weakness, it's strategy. In a woman's emotional world, the right silence is worth more than 1,000 clumsy confessions. It's not about what you say, but what you let linger in the air. What's left unsaid becomes imagined. And in her imagination, what she imagines feels stronger than what's real. That's where the power lies. That's when desire becomes uncontrollable. It's not about hiding who you are. It's about revealing yourself in layers, with intention. Every word becomes a veil, falling slowly. When everything is spoken, mystery dies. Without mystery, tension fades. And without tension, desire cannot survive. Machiavelli understood this. Words aren't meant to explain, they're meant to enchant. Every phrase can either be a spell or a prison. So don't talk to fill the silence. Speak to command it. There are silences heavier than screams. Pauses sharper than knives. Glances that speak more than any poem. Want her to remember you? Don't give her answers. Give her questions. Plant doubts. Leave clues. Seed uncertainty. Then simply smile. That smile that explains nothing, yet suggests everything. If you do it right, there comes a moment when her logic breaks. She's no longer analyzing. She's feeling. She doesn't fully know why she's drawn to you. She only knows something about you unsettles her, pulls her in, seduces her. And you're not seeking approval. You exist as a presence. As a mystery she can't fully grasp. A challenge that can't be solved with pretty words, but only with deep, dangerous emotions. Most men think seduction is about convincing. It isn't. Seduction is about creating an emotional field where she lowers her guard without even realizing it. Where she can't predict you. Where she isn't sure if you're the best or worst idea of her life. But she can't stop thinking about you. You create that field through ambiguity, rhythm, and by choosing what not to reveal. Because when a woman can't put you in a box, she begins to want you. Her mind searches for answers, but you never provide them. That's when attraction stops being superficial and becomes visceral. She's not in love with you. She's in love with what you awaken, with what she projects, with what she imagines. And you remain there, without anxiety, without rushing, without need. As if you already know, true desire is never demanded. It's provoked. In this psychic laboratory, we explore those hidden dimensions of desire. Because what truly attracts is never the obvious, but the whispers from the shadows. Understand this, and you'll stop being just another man. You'll become an enigma. All it takes is intention, silence, and the ability to speak to her inner world in a way no one else can. Seduction isn't convincing, pushing, or pressuring. It's guiding her to the edge and making her believe it was her decision to cross it. With an invisible escalation, an emotional progression so natural, so fluid, that by the time she realizes what's happening, she's already there with you. Most men fail here. Why? Because after a good conversation, they grow desperate. They try to secure what was already growing on its own. And in that attempt, they shatter the tension, kill the mystery, and believe that more words will create more desire. But in truth, desire feeds on the unsaid, on what's suggested, not on what's declared. Machiavelli knew it. Desire isn't born from clarity. It's born from ambiguity charged with intention. If she can figure you out in 5 minutes, she'll discard you in 6. But if every time she's with you, she discovers something new, she stays. Not because you convinced her, but because you pulled her into an emotional place no one else has taken her. Don't explain. Don't clarify. Don't complete the thought. Instead, say something like, "I'm not going to tell you what I thought when you walked in, but it was hard to hide it." That silence, that unspoken truth, it's worth more than 1,000 direct lines. Because she will finish it herself. And when she does, she fills it with her own desires. This is the true art. Not arousing her with your words, but with what your words awaken inside her. Do you want her to remember you? Not for what you said, but for what you made her feel without saying it. When that happens, desire settles deep. It becomes intrigue, a challenge, something she cannot control. And you're not forcing her. You're crafting, with surgical precision, the space where her instincts do the rest. Remember this, the body follows only when the mind is already captured. And the mind is captured not by what it can predict, but by what it cannot classify. That's why you should never aim to be perfect. Aim to be unforgettable, disturbing, a shadow that leaves its mark, an echo that lingers. In this laboratory of the mind, we do not teach lines. We teach you how to create emotional impact. Because attraction is not a trick, it is an art. And like all art, it demands control, patience, flawless execution. What you've just heard isn't theory. It is psychology weaponized for desire. And if you truly understand it, you will never be seen the same again.